Hey lads, Barefoot Garage is in limbo a bit, so we've gone mobile and we've come over to Everetti's place. We're going to do a quick video on cam chain tensioning, what it is, how it works, and the only one way to adjust the cam chain on the XS1100. Over the bit of time now that we've been on Facebook and the forums, there's been guys that have adjusted the cam chains and they have paid the penalty, bent valves, our motor's not running. So we'll run through and show you. That's your cam chain adjuster. You've got a 12mm nut as a lock nut, and then you have the 10mm nut as your hold. So we line that right out. We'll show you. That comes right out, which is pretty long. There's an O-ring on there as well. That sits in the housing. That stops the oil coming up back up your thread. Right down. Your arm pops out. Your spring. That's one piece, so you can't do anything with that. And in the end, there's a lot of guys. There's a plug. You see that clear enough?
Yeah.
This plug pops out of your end of your cam chain, out of your cam adjuster. It's very simple. It's very easy to replace. You want a 14mm end plug. Go to your local seal shop, wherever you are in the world. Go to a seal shop and they will have or be able to get a 14mm end plug. That's what it's called. If we pop it out, it's basically if we can pop it out. No, we can't. Anyway, that's unusual. Normally they pop out. But yeah, it's probably only 3 or 4 or 5mm thick. And it just looks like a Welsh plug. It's a rubber Welsh plug. So that's all there is to it. So put your spring on. There's no real which way your spring goes on. You have an indent. Where did my screw go? Where did my screw go? There. On the end of your bolt, you have a set cut down section, just here. That sits in the section here. So when you put your adjuster together, you squeeze it all down and then you lock your nut up, and that will hold it in situ while you put it back in the motorcycle. Go through it all and we'll do it, and then you just undo your nut, and then that slides, takes the slack out of your chain to wherever you need it to go and makes a click when it lands. That's all there is to them. You have a steel bolt, and you have a light cast alloy boss. So you don't want to do that up super tight because you're going to strip your thread in your aluminium. So they go together. You don't need to lean on them. Just give them a little bit of a light tweak when you do them up, and then your lock nut. So you just make sure, so we're holding that like that. Make sure your instep is up as well. Where'd you go? Over there. Leave that in. After you've pulled it apart, make sure you oil that. Make sure there's oil in there, because if they are dry and you put them together dry, sometimes they won't slide out and then you're in a world of hurt. So if you've pulled that apart and you've washed it and cleaned it all up, make sure that goes together with oil in there, because you're going to pay for it if you don't. So like we tried before, push that in, do it up, that like that. So then you push it together, your thumb, and you put a little tweak on it like that. So then when it's in the bike and you're doing your cam chain adjust, all you do, and that will be, it won't quite be that loud, but you will hear it inside the motor, and then you'll know your chain's taken up and everything's good. Then you go through, you lock it up, then you grab your 12mm and you lock your locking nut up, and you're all good. That's how your cam chain adjuster works. So we'll go through on how do you adjust the cam chain itself. Obviously, well, not obviously, but it's under your left hand sitting on the bike. It's under your left hand engine cover. There's a, did we get the right one? We didn't get the right one. 19mm. So you can either use a 6mm Allen key, or you use a 19mm spanner on the square section of your timing plate. An 1100 motor runs backwards. So you see a lot of Japanese machines have the cam chain tensioner in the back of the motor. Our 1100s have them on the front of the motor, because the motor spins this way. So the crank is pulling the chain this way. So all the slack is in the front of the motor. So to line it up, there's a C mark. Can you see that? There's a C mark on your timing plate. So you've got your firing, you've got your timing, and then you've got your degrees of advance. But around here is a C. That's for your cam chain. Don't wind it back and then go that way. You go, even if it's there, you take it all the way around. Take it all the way around, one revolution, until it's on there. And one of those motors across there, one of the piston pots, the valves will be shut on a compression, so you will have load on one piston, so all of that chain is all tight, and then you've got all your slack at the back. So we know this motor's good, so we won't touch that, but that's where you come now. So this is sitting in your bike, it sits that way actually. So then you're at this point now, it's like that. So then you just you've undone under your 12mm nut, and then you grab your 10mm and you just crack it. That's all you do. Then you lock that back up again, grab your 12mm and do him up. But that's basically all the weight you want to put on it even. Like you don't need, I had a dear friend used to say there's a reason a 10mm spanner is that long. You don't need a 4-foot pipe on the end of it. So just put a bit of a pound on it to tighten it up, because you don't want to strip your thread in there. And that's basically it. That's how, the one and only way you adjust a cam chain on an XS11. And there's no other way to do it. If you don't do it that way, you're not doing it right. You'll damage your motor.